What if the person who signs your paycheck was secretly standing right next to you, serving fries and taking orders? Imagine the shock, the surprise, the sheer awkwardness of that moment. Have you ever thought about what your boss truly thinks about the daily grind, the real challenges faced by the people who make the company run? Share your wildest guesses in the comments below. And hey, if you're intrigued already, give that like button a tap. You guys are the best, always up for a good story, and trust me, this one's got some twists you won't see coming. Let's dive to see. The aroma of freshly grilled burgers hung heavy in the air at Patty Perfection, a local diner buzzing with lunchtime customers. Among the uniformed staff, a new face, a slightly hesitant man named Alistair Finch, was struggling to keep up. Little did anyone know, Alistair wasn't just any new hire. He was the founder and CEO of Patty Perfection, going undercover to get a real taste of his business. Alistair had started Patty Perfection with a simple dream: to serve the best darn burger in town. Years of hard work had turned that dream into a successful chain, but somewhere along the way, he'd lost touch with the heart of it all. Lately, whispers of discontent from employees and a dip in customer satisfaction scores had been troubling him. He needed to see for himself what was happening behind the scenes. His first few days as Alistair the trainee were humbling. He fumbled orders, nearly dropped a tray of milkshakes, and constantly had to ask his colleagues for help. He saw the exhaustion etched on their faces, the hurried movements, the barely concealed frustration when things got chaotic. He noticed the outdated soda machine that sputtered and leaked, the chipped paint on the walls, the worn-out non-slip mats in the kitchen. These were details that never made it to the quarterly reports. One afternoon, while wiping down a sticky table near the cash registers, Alistair overheard a conversation that made his blood run cold. Two cashiers, a cheerful young woman named Willow and a quiet, observant man named Jasper, were talking in low voices. "Did you hear about what happened to Beatrice?" Willow asked, her usual sunny demeanor clouded with worry. Jasper nodded grimly. "Yeah, it's awful. They're saying she might need surgery, and she's so worried about the cost." "I know," Willow sighed. "She's always picking up extra shifts, always helping everyone out. Remember when my little brother was sick? Beatrice brought over a whole care package." Alistair's grip tightened on his cleaning cloth. Beatrice, he vaguely recalled signing off on some medical leave requests recently. But again, it was just a name on a form. He hadn't connected it to the warm, friendly face he'd seen taking orders with such patience. "Has she talked to Mr. Sterling about it?" Jasper asked, referring to the diner's manager. Willow's expression turned bitter. "She tried. He just told her about the company's standard health plan, and said there wasn't much else they could do." Standard health plan, like that's going to cover a major surgery. Mr. Sterling. Alistair had always considered him a reliable manager, focused on keeping costs down and productivity up. But this sounded heartless. "Someone should do something," Jasper murmured, his gaze troubled. "She's been with Patty Perfection since it was just that tiny little shack on Elm Street." Willow nodded fiercely. "I agree. Maybe we can start a collection or something." Alistair felt a pang of guilt. His company, his success, was built on the backs of people like Beatrice, Willow, and Jasper. And yet, when one of them was in serious need, the system seemed to offer nothing but a cold, bureaucratic response. Had he become so focused on the bottom line that he'd forgotten the human element? Over the next few days, Alistair continued his undercover work, immersing himself in the daily routines and challenges of his employees. He learned to flip burgers with surprising speed, his hands getting burned more times than he cared to admit. He cleaned restrooms, scrubbed grease-stained floors, and dealt with demanding customers. He witnessed the camaraderie among the staff, the way they supported each other through the rushes, sharing jokes and offering words of encouragement. He also saw the inefficiencies, the waste, the little things that chipped away at morale. The broken ice machine that never got repaired, forcing them to lug heavy bags of ice from the back. The shortage of cleaning supplies that made their jobs even harder. The feeling among some that their hard work wasn't truly valued. He even saw Mr. Sterling taking credit for an employee's innovative suggestion for a new menu item. One particularly exhausting evening, Alistair found himself closing up with Beatrice. Despite looking pale and tired, she insisted on helping him with the final cleaning tasks. As they worked side by side, Alistair, as Art, mustered the courage to ask her how she was doing. Beatrice offered a weak smile. "Oh, just a little under the weather." But Alistair saw the worry in her eyes. He saw the forced cheerfulness that didn't quite reach her gaze. "It must be tough," he said gently, surprising himself with his own empathy. Beatrice sighed, the facade momentarily slipping. It is. This surgery, it's a big thing. And the bills, well, they're even bigger. Alistair's heart ached. He wanted to reach out, to tell her who he really was, to assure her that everything would be okay. But he knew he had to maintain his cover a little longer. He needed to see the full picture. The breaking point came during the monthly staff meeting, led by Mr. Sterling. Sterling was droning on about the importance of cutting costs and increasing efficiency, completely oblivious to the real struggles his employees were facing. He even announced that there would be no raises this quarter due to tight margins. Alistair, still in his disguise, couldn't take it anymore. He stood up, his voice trembling slightly, but filled with a newfound resolve. "Excuse me, Mr. Sterling," he said, his gaze steady. Sterling looked up, annoyed. "Yes, Art? What is it?" Alistair took a deep breath. "With all due respect, sir, I don't think you understand what's really going on here." Sterling scoffed. "And I suppose you do, being here all of what? 2 weeks? In those 2 weeks, Alistair continued, his voice gaining strength, I've seen the hard work, the dedication, and the genuine care that the people in this room have for Patty Perfection and its customers. I've also seen broken equipment, understaffing, and a lack of support for employees who are going through tough times." He paused, his eyes sweeping across the surprised faces of his colleagues. "I've heard about Beatrice's situation. Someone who has given years of her life to this company, and she's worried sick about her health and her future." Sterling's face flushed with anger. "This is hardly the time or place." "It's exactly the time and place," Alistair interrupted, his voice firm. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his company ID, the one with his real name and title. He placed it on the table in front of a stunned Mr. Sterling. "My name is Alistair Finch," he said, his voice clear and resonant, "and I am the CEO of Patty Perfection." A gasp rippled through the room. Mr. Sterling's jaw dropped. Willow and Jasper exchanged bewildered glances. Beatrice looked like she might faint. Alistair continued, his gaze now filled with sincerity and determination. "I came here undercover because I needed to see things with my own eyes. And what I've seen has opened them in a way that no report ever could." He looked at Beatrice, his voice softening. "Beatrice, your surgery? Patty Perfection will cover all the costs. And we'll make sure you have the time you need to recover, with full pay." A wave of emotion washed over Beatrice's face. Tears welled up in her eyes as Willow rushed to her side, offering a comforting hug. Alistair then turned to the rest of the staff. "And that's not all. Starting immediately, we're investing in new equipment, increasing staff during peak hours, and implementing a new employee support program to help anyone facing unexpected hardships. And yes," he added, looking directly at Mr. Sterling, "there will be raises this quarter. A significant one." The room erupted in a mixture of cheers and stunned silence. Mr. Sterling looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. Over the next few weeks, Patty Perfection underwent a transformation. Alistair, now back in his CEO role but with a renewed sense of purpose, worked tirelessly to implement the changes he'd promised. He personally oversaw the repairs and upgrades to the diners, making sure the employees had the tools and resources they needed. He established a confidential hotline for employees to voice their concerns and implemented a system for recognizing and rewarding their hard work. He also had a long, serious conversation with Mr. Sterling. While he appreciated Sterling's focus on efficiency, Alistair made it clear that the well-being of the employees was just as important, if not more so. Sterling was given a chance to adapt to the new values, but Alistair made it clear that empathy and compassion were now non-negotiable. The changes had a profound impact. Employee morale soared. Customer satisfaction ratings went through the roof. The food even seemed to taste better, infused with a renewed sense of pride and care. Alistair often visited the diners, not as the undercover boss, but as himself, taking the time to talk to his employees, to listen to their ideas, and to thank them for their dedication. He learned their names, their stories, their dreams. He realized that Patty Perfection wasn't just about burgers. It was about the people who made them, the people who served them, and the community they created together. And Beatrice? Her surgery was successful, and she returned to Patty Perfection with a renewed sense of gratitude and loyalty. She often shared stories with the new trainees about the time the CEO went undercover, a tale that had become a legend within the company, a reminder that even the biggest boss can have the biggest heart. The experience taught Alistair a valuable lesson. True success isn't just measured in profits and numbers, but in the well-being and happiness of the people who make it all possible. Sometimes, to truly lead, you need to walk in someone else's shoes, to see the world through their eyes, and to listen with your heart. So, what do you think of Alistair's journey? Did you see that twist coming? What would you do if your boss went undercover at your workplace? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more inspiring tales. Remember, every person has a story, and sometimes the most important lessons are learned when we least expect them.